On March 7th, 2025, we released our first Steam game and it went terribly. It only sold 129 times, earning us $297 after Steam's cut. With that, we landed ourselves the spot in the bottom half of all Steam games. In this video, we will go over what we did right, what we expected out of this release, why we think it failed, and how we plan to fix those issues moving forward. If you're a dev working on your first game, or you just want to feel better about your own failures, this is the video for you. Let me quickly introduce the team and give you the project's pitch. At the time, we were 4 developers. None of us had ever released a game before. Most of us had and still have the dream to become full-time indie devs. Most of us also like automation games. Since we had 2 programmers and 2 artists, we thought, why not make a simplified version of those? Seemed easy enough. The problem was that we had already tried to make a full game. Twice. It always went like this. At first, the motivation was high, slowly fizzling out over the weeks, until the project was fully abandoned. We figured that happened because we did not feel enough pressure to continue working, so we did the only reasonable thing, set ourselves an impossibly short deadline to go from idea to Steam release. We decided on 6 months. To be honest, we completely pulled that number out of our heads. Though it did seem to strike the balance between being rather short, but still long enough to be realistic for our first game, as long as we limited our scope and stuck to it. There are a couple of things we kind of nailed as former game dev virgins. First of all, just the fact that we released the game within 7 months is still insane to me. Yes, I know that's 1 more month than the planned 6, we'll get to that. Second of all, a big contributing factor to that was our roadmap. We planned out every single month in detail, each filled with tasks varying from programming specific systems to creating game assets or sound effects. It helped us to not lose track of things and also keep our deadline in sight. Even though we forgot tasks like localization or the save system, and it took us 1 month longer than planned, without this roadmap we would have never released this game. Just please, do not manage your roadmap in one single, humongous Discord message. Use Trello instead, or literally anything else than Discord. Another thing we did well is the level of polish. At times our game looks and feels pretty good. You would not immediately suspect that it's the first game of 4 beginner devs. I hope. The final, most important point that we got right is that people had fun. It is not even close to a perfect game. At times I would not even call it good, but people enjoyed playing it. What else is a game supposed to make you feel, if not fun? Okay, before we get to the stuff that we did wrong, let's talk a bit about expectations and numbers. Don't worry, this is the only chapter in this video about numbers. We went in with realistic, mostly pessimistic expectations. We thought that, outside of friends and family, maybe 20 strangers would buy the game. To our surprise, it had almost 200 wish lists before launch, without any real marketing. Sure, we made a few YouTube videos, but those did not convert a lot. Still appreciate every single one of you. No, what actually had happened was that after releasing a demo of our game, we by some miracle hit the new and trending page of the automation games, which of course is not the main Steam page, yet it was an amazing feeling. We quickly realized that Steam promotes your games a lot, like a lot. Especially if the Steam page just launched or a new demo is available. Does that mean you can completely disregard any other forms of marketing? I don't know. All I know is that our game's capsule art was shown to almost 70,000 people. Perhaps if we had spent more time getting influencers to play our game, that number would have been even higher. I don't know. 0.29% of those 70,000 people wishlisted our game, which is an extremely bad conversion rate. But that is how we ended up with the 200 wishlists. Now, if Steam statistics are to be believed, 10% of wishlists will convert into sales within the first launch week. So, 20 sales. Exactly what we expected. We launched the game, waited for a week, and made about 80 sales. This high conversion rate probably happened because of 2 factors. First, we told all of our friends and family to buy the game, which already secured us some sales. Secondly, we priced the game aggressively. We knew that the game would take about 1 to 2 hours to complete, and we wanted to get as much feedback as we could. So, we decided to make it cost very little, $2.99. At this point you might ask us, how did your game fail if people are having fun with it and your expectations were exceeded. Because that does not sound like a failure at all, you little dummies. And I'd answer, first of all, I like the positivity. But that last part was kinda rude. Second of all, despite all of the positives, there are 3 reasons that made us consider this project a failure. The first, most obvious being that, financially speaking, the game was not worth our time. Most of us invested, on average, 10 hours per week into the development. We did that for 6 months, adding up to about 240 hours per person. Taking the roughly $300 of revenue we made, divide that by 4, our studio paid a wage of 30 cents per hour. Remember when I said earlier that the last chapter would be the only one about numbers? I lied. I lied to you. Now, is money a fair measurement of failure? Considering our initial goal was not to create a commercial success, but instead to see if we could even release a game in the first place. No, not at all. However, would you rather feel the fulfillment of releasing your first game, or do that and also get a lot of money? Fixing this will definitely be a challenge, because how do you guarantee a game's success? How do you guarantee success for anything you do? You can't, right? You'll just have to get better. Make a better game next time, send it to influencers, and hope. Our second reason is that the game could have been way more fun than it is. The mistake here is something that I actually praised earlier: the amount of detail in our roadmap. Like I said, it was 100% what enabled us to finish this game. However, it was way too detailed. Turns out, immediately deciding on every system that has to be programmed, every art piece that has to be drawn, and every other task that has to be completed makes for a very rigid plan. Who would have thought? It led to us having zero flexibility in the game's design if we were to follow it rigorously. We did follow it rigorously. A roadmap has to be flexible, allowing your game to go through different iterations. It should be able to grow alongside you and your skill set. Leave yourself room to also do game design during development, not just beforehand, like we did. What you should also do during development is playtesting. A lot of it. Our third, final reason to consider this project a failure is that the game could have been way more fun than it is. Yes, there was a previous reason too. No, I don't care. This is my video. And since you behaved so rude just now, I'll add a secret, final reason to this. Reason 3.5 is that our game could have been way more intuitive. Both reasons, 3 and 3.5, could have been fixed with iterative playtesting. Iterative playtesting happens when you involve playtesting into every part of your development. You create an initial prototype, send it out to literally anyone, gather feedback, and improve it based on the feedback. Repeat that process every time you add a mechanic or anything else in your game that requires feedback, and you are doing very nice iterative playtesting. I'm proud of you. We did next to no playtesting during development, meaning we gathered exactly 0 amounts of feedback. When we finally did, a few weeks before release, most of our players were confused, scared, and sometimes even both. They needed us to stand next to them and hold their tiny little baby hands, because they were tiny little babies that did not understand and or were terribly afraid of our game. We scrambled hard to fix the issues people were having with the time we had left, but it was too little, too late. The thing that really hurts me the most here is that we have a cool, unique mechanic that literally no one understands. And what really hurts me the most, yes, I lied again, is that there is no one to blame except for us. It is not our players' fault. After all, they are tiny little babies. The video does end on a joke here, but in my opinion it ends on a rather bitter note, because the negatives throughout this whole video outweigh the positives. I wanted this video to be as realistic about this project as possible, but I also don't want to demotivate anyone. So don't get me wrong, by all metrics and by all the reasons I told you, we failed. And that's fine. Like, who cares? Just do your thing, as long as you enjoy what you are doing, as long as you are still learning. Make a project, fail, learn, do it again. Maybe one day you won't fail. Maybe you will fail every time. Okay, I really don't know what's wrong with me. I did it again. I ended on a negative note. So, Let me try again. Continue chasing your dreams as long as you are having fun. That's the end. That's the end. I don't say anything more. Bye. Like and subscribe. Good. Bye.